It takes enormous privilege and pride for us to announce recent collaboration with one of the prestigious universities in UK, University of Strathclyde in Glasgow. And we are very thankful for the participants and the guests from across the different regions in India. And I would like to quickly introduce you the agenda today and also talk about the eminent faculty professors who are attending the session today. My name is Soma, and I will just give a quick welcome note for a minute or two, and then I would request the faculty professors from University of Strathclyde and our faculty in India and our president, Dr. Dakshinamurthy, and also our dean, Dr. Parag Mantri, on the session today. And while you can see the video of all of the faculty professors already, here is a quick glimpse of the speakers today. We have Mr. Stuart Shorthouse. He's the head of International Development and Recruitment Faculty Engineering at University of Strathclyde. And Professor Dr. Campbell Booth. He's the head of the Department for Electronic and Electrical Engineering Department at University of Strathclyde. And we have Dr. Gaetano Di Catrina. He's the course director and the Chancellor's Fellowships from the same Department of Electronic and Electrical Engineering at Strathclyde. Dr. Dakshinamurthy, he's the co-founding president at Insofi, and he is a faculty member too. And we have Dr. Parag Mantri, who is the dean of University of Strathclyde programs at Insofi and a professor also at Insofi. So we will definitely cover about the university background, the kind of life that people can explore in UK, and also the overview of the program, and certainly the department overview, and also Insofi's vision and the eligibility criteria of the students who are very keen to apply for the upcoming intakes. So without any further delay, I would request Mr. Stuart from University of Strathclyde team to just take over and please present your slides. So I'll just turn off my screen sharing. You may be able to share it from your side.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for that.
Before you start, Stuart, sorry for a small interruption. So people who are attending, please feel free to type your questions in the chat room or Q&A. And we will, in the end, address as many as possible in this session. And later, our counselors can talk to you and address the other questions also. So as the talk is happening, feel free to write your questions in the chat room. Sorry, Stuart, for interrupting. It's all yours now.
Okay, great stuff. Just before I put the slides up, just to say, and obviously a huge thanks to colleagues at Insofi for the welcome, and just on behalf of the Faculty of Engineering at University of Strathclyde, just how delighted we are to be here, to be speaking with you all, and obviously for the partnership that we have with Insofi. At Strathclyde, global engagement is a key strategic theme for the university, and we're very proud of the international links that we have, and particularly within the Faculty of Engineering, where we have a good number of very strong international links across the globe, but within research, teaching, and knowledge exchange. So we're very pleased to be here to launch another initiative with a key partner for the university, obviously this time involving our Department of Electronic and Electrical Engineering, which I'm sure you'll learn to know more is a very, very important department at the university. And I know Professor Campbell Booth will take you through the history of the department and its strengths. So, but what I'll do, I'll just kind of kick off. I'll just get the presentation up on the screen now, if that works. Hope you can all see that. If I just try and go to slideshow. Okay, great. So hope you can see all of that at the moment. Obviously, greetings from Scotland. So we're all based here in Scotland at the moment. Some in Glasgow and some just outside Glasgow at the moment. Obviously, we're here to kind of talk about the University of Strathclyde and particularly the Faculty of Engineering and the Department of Electronic and Electrical Engineering. Just this first slide. This is just an image of taken from the university campus, and it just shows you Glasgow at kind of the early evening time. It just shows the location that we have as a university. So we're right in the middle of Glasgow. You can see just the lights in the front of that picture. That's from George Square, which is the very heart of Glasgow. So it just shows how central and located we are within the city, but also we're a university with a very rich history. So I'll just go on to the next slide. So just to give you a very brief overview about the university and also the faculty. So the roots of Strathclyde, as you can see, kind of dates back many, many years. So all the way back till 1796, where we were founded by Professor John Anderson Anderson, and importantly, he was looking for Strathclyde to be a place of useful learning. Now, instantly at that time, if you know your history quite well, the UK was very much in the midst of the Industrial Revolution, and at that time in Glasgow there was only one university, and that was the ancient university, University of Glasgow. So it was very much the desire of Professor John Anderson to establish a new type of university firmly focused on the needs of society at that time. And as we're going through that Industrial Revolution, it was firmly focused within key engineering and technological areas. And that's very much kind of continued till today. So we still have that motto as a key aspect in terms of what we do at Strathclyde, and particularly within the Faculty of Engineering. And you'll learn more about the key industry links that we have, and also the importance of our programs. So in modern day times, so Strathclyde, we've grown as an institution. So we're the third largest university in Scotland, and as you can see, a leading international technological university. Now, despite everything else that's been going on across the globe, actually 2020 was a very successful year for Strathclyde on a number of levels. So we were very fortunate to receive a number of kind of prestigious awards over the last year. So you'll see some of them listed there. So Scottish University of the Year, and that's from the Times and the Sunday Times. Also the big one, which is the University of the Year, and that's from the Times Higher Education Awards. Now that's almost like the Oscars, but for higher education. So there's a big ceremony, and obviously there's quite a lot of prestige around that. So we are the only university that's won that award twice. So, and then again, within 2019, we won it last year. So a huge pride for the university, and it just shows the significant efforts that go on across the university. Also, a very prestigious award that we won last year was the Queen's Anniversary Prize for Higher and Further Education, and that's very much within innovation and around energy. And I know that Professor Campbell Booth will focus on quite a bit of that within the department overview. And importantly as well, just in terms of rankings, I know that there's quite a lot of focus on rankings at times. So in the last year, we've moved up to in the top 15 in the UK rankings overall. But importantly for engineering, I'll show you a little bit about engineering where we do even better than that. So that's just some of the awards that we've won, just to show you the logos around that. Now, so. And as I said, so Strathclyde, it's a large university. It's the third largest in Scotland. So it has 4 faculties within the university, and we're here very much here to speak about the Faculty of Engineering. But the other faculties are the Strathclyde Business School, quite a prestigious business school that we have, Faculty of Science and Humanities and Social Sciences. So you see engineering, it's the largest Faculty of Engineering in Scotland, one of the centres of excellence across Europe in terms of engineering studies. And you'll see it covers a very broad area of engineering topics. So everything from architecture to chemical engineering, all the way to specialist subjects such as naval architecture, ocean and marine engineering. But you've got the key engineering areas within that. So electronic and electrical engineering, mechanical and aerospace engineering, etc. So we'll focus a lot within Triple E in this presentation. So as I said, it is one of the largest centres of excellence of engineering education in Europe, and very much going back to that motto of a university, the place of useful learning. This just gives you a little bit of summary of the history. So you can see some famous names that have either worked at Strathclyde or studied at Strathclyde. Probably the most famous would be John Logie Baird, who invented the television. He studied engineering at Strathclyde, obviously quite a number of years ago. But you've also got James Blyth, who built the first wind turbine. He was a professor at Strathclyde, and you've got Archibald Page, who was instrumental in founding the UK National Grid. So he actually studied Triple E, and obviously within the department that hopefully you would then get a chance to move into in your studies. We can't overemphasize the fact there's that unique link we have with industry. So industry is very much first and foremost in terms of a lot of the activity that we do around our teaching, research and knowledge exchange. I was just going to move on quickly just to the kind of the ranking slide. So this is just a quick overview just to show the strengths that we have within the departments within engineering. So you can see that although as an institution, yes, we're in the top 15 institutions in the UK, but actually within engineering subject areas, that strength is even greater. So you'll see, for example, within biomedical engineering, we're number 2 in the UK. Obviously Triple E, which we'll learn more about, that's in the top 5. You've got mechanical in the top 5, chemical in the top 5, architecture at number 3, civil engineering in the top 10, and aeronautical and manufacturing engineering again in the top 5. So again, it just kind of shows the strengths that we have. And I'm sure that some of you, you may know about Strathclyde, you might not have heard of us before, but I'm sure you'll have heard of other institutions in the UK. And these kind of slides just show you the strengths that we have within the engineering areas. So as I said, we're in the top 5 in the UK for Triple E, but if you look at the institutions slightly above us, you've got Cambridge and Oxford and the Imperial College, who I'm sure you've all heard of. But if you see below that as well, you've got the likes of Glasgow University, Nottingham, Manchester, Edinburgh University, Lancaster, etc. So not as strong as ourselves in terms of the rankings within that subject area. So again, it just shows the expertise that we have. And then this is with the mechanical, again, number 4. So again, you see Cambridge, Imperial College and Oxford just above us, but then a number of kind of well-known institutions below. And similar with chemical and process engineering, and also with architecture. So again, it just shows that the strengths that we have within the faculty. As I said, industrial links very important for us. These are just some of the big names that we work with around kind of research, knowledge exchange, etc. There's many more within that, and I'm sure Campbell will kind of touch on those in terms of his own presentation. Importantly as well is that all of our degrees are accredited by the relevant bodies. So you'll see kind of recognised names there in terms of chemical engineering, obviously within Triple E, within mechanical engineering, etc. So all the courses are accredited by those relevant bodies. So without further ado, I'll just pass over to Campbell, who will just give you a quick overview of the department. So Campbell, I'll just pass on the slides to you.
Thanks very much, Stuart. So you can still drive these for me? Yep, great stuff. So again, thanks very much for Stuart for that excellent overview. I'm just going to take a few minutes to give you a little bit more information about the Department of Electronic and Electrical Engineering. So next slide, please, Stuart. So Stuart mentioned the structure of the university and the faculty and the departments, but we have around 22,000 students, and these are some images here from around the campus, and clearly there's a location map showing where we are in Scotland, which is in the north of the United Kingdom. But we have around 1,500 people associated with the department, and as it says there are around 22,000 students in the overall university. Next slide, please, Stuart. This just shows how our department is a bit of a mix of the old and the new. So the building that you can see on the top right, this is the Royal College building, and this is where the University of Strathclyde has its beginnings, and this is the building where the Triple E department is based. Most of the academics are based here, and this is where, as Stuart mentioned, John Logie Baird would have studied. But in the more recent times, you can see on the left-hand side, there are more futuristic buildings. So a major investment about 4 or 5 years ago, almost £100 million, was made in the Technology and Innovation Centre, and that is where the vast majority of our postgraduate and postdoctoral research is based. And again, master's students would have access to the laboratories in there. And another building that we have at the bottom left is the Power Networks Demonstration Centre. Thanks, Stuart. So again, I think this slide we can very quickly go over it. If you just click on Stuart, it shows just how the Triple E department is one of 8 departments in the faculty, and there's some numbers there at the bottom right showing how the faculty has £100 million plus research portfolio, of which Triple E has approximately £50 million. So Stuart mentioned how the Faculty of Engineering is one of the largest, most prestigious in the UK. Well, the department is by far the largest department within the 8 departments of the faculty. Thanks, Stuart. Again, just some more numbers here. So that 1,500 people is made up of around 84 academics. That's grown significantly in the last few years. We're up about 20, more than 20 academics because of the growth that we have been experiencing. We have about 110 researchers. So these are postdoctoral researchers and a variety of undergraduate and postgraduate students. If you just click again, Stuart, there should be some text comes up on this slide here. Again, just to show our growth, as I said, 20% in academic staff, 84% in research applications, 40% in research awards. Why am I telling you this? I'm telling you this because it shows how we are at the forefront of research, and much of the subjects that you would be studying at Strathclyde are very much underpinning the research that we're doing, as Dr. De Caterina will tell you in a few minutes. If you click again, Stuart. Again and again, this is just some more details of what we're doing. Okay. I think Stuart covered some of this, but I just again thought that showing our connectivity with industry is very important. I know that clearly people study sometimes to go into a career in academia, but very often to go into a career in industry. And I think it's very important to note that more than 200, so that's really 1 in 4 of our undergraduates receive some form of scholarship and sponsorship, and much of that is from industry. And there are various measures, but within 6 months of graduation from our undergraduate programs, more than 90% of our students have secured jobs in a field of their choice, and that's just again a list of some of the employers and the partners that we work with. Again, Stuart. There's some animations in this, Stuart, so you can just click this quite slowly, but this is just showing you a little bit more about the campus, because I know that's important. We've just invested in a world-class sport and recreation facility that you can see there, and I think maybe the next slide also shows our new teaching and learning building. So a number of views there of a major investment in the campus. So when I was an undergraduate, which scarily is almost 35 years ago, the campus looked very different from what it is now, both in terms of the scale of it and the modern facilities that we have. So we really have world-leading facilities, and that's what you would be coming to study at. Again, Stuart, I think. Yeah, this is just a little bit more on the Technology and Innovation Centre. It's shown you there at the bottom, Her Majesty the Queen, along with our principal, Sir Jim MacDonald, who is also the president, the first ever Scottish president of the Royal Academy of Engineering. Again, this is another example of how well connected and at the forefront of academia we are. And Professor MacDonald was actually a EEE graduate himself. And I think, Stuart, that may be just about me. I mean, this is just showing, again, more examples of how we engage with industry. We've had about 25 spin-out and startup companies. And again, if you click the next slide, Stuart. And I know that Stuart also showed this, just some of the companies that we're working with. So I think in the interest of time, that's probably enough from me. So clearly there may be a lot of questions, and of course we can always have other sessions where we give you far more information, and we can make the slides available after this. I believe this session is also being recorded. So again, thanks very much for your interest, and I'm very much looking forward to setting up this programme and getting things moving over the next months and years. Thank you.
Okay. So good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to be here. So my name is Gaetano De Caterina, as you can see, and I am the course director of this MSc in Machine Learning and Deep Learning. So go next slide, please. So in these slides, I want to give you a good perspective of why this MSc is interesting, or should be interesting, or should be of interest to you. So nowadays, artificial intelligence has become quite pervasive in many aspects of our life. And for example, from autonomous cars to media and entertainment, medicine, and also internet services. Okay, so it's pretty much everywhere. The next slide. And so there is also an ever-growing interest from industry in AI, in modern AI. Okay, so this is backed up by funding and investments from companies in this. So companies, more and more companies use AI in their products. Okay, and of course that means that also the workforce of these companies, they need to have a good understanding of AI, machine learning, deep learning, and the techniques behind all these technologies. So next slide. Now, artificial intelligence has been around since the 50s, okay, so potentially old. However, it's only over the last 20, 30 years that there have been a significant technological progress that has allowed machine learning and artificial intelligence to make a significant impact on our lives. And in fact, machine learning, which is a subfield of artificial intelligence, as we can see here, is the mathematical, in machine learning, we use mathematical models to embed the intelligence within our algorithms or our machines. And it's only over the last 20, 30 years, as I said, that we have had some significant progress. So now we can have artificial intelligence in our products and in our life. More specifically, over the last 10, 15 years, so we have this new subfield of machine learning, so the so-called deep learning. You might have read about in the newspapers and in the articles or over the internet. And essentially, this subfield is now driving the boom behind AI. Okay, so whenever you read AI nowadays, usually we refer to deep learning. That doesn't mean that machine learning is not here anymore. And that's why in this MSc, we have both machine learning and deep learning, okay? Next slide. So this MSc, one important point of this MSc is that it's a joint degree between the Tripoli department, so our department, Electronic and Electrical Engineering, and the Computer and Information Science department. Now, this is because we want the students to learn what happened behind the scenes, okay, in these deep learning structures, machine learning structures, okay? But we also want the students to have a good and practical understanding of how you implement these techniques. So not just the theory, but also the practical side. And we know that, so there are other MSCs around, but the strength of our MSc is the fact that other MSCs, they either focus on engineering or on computer science, so they either focus on the theory or the practical side. Instead, we provide our students with both perspectives. So we engineering side, we show the students how these algorithms work, the math behind these algorithms. And then from the computer science perspective, we show the students how to actually implement, how to use the state-of-the-art tools to implement these machine learning and deep learning algorithms, okay? So the students are exposed to state-of-the-art engineering and also software technologies that underpin the machine learning and deep learning. Okay. So in the next slide, so here in this slide, maybe it's a bit detailed at this stage, but all I want to show is that the students will undertake modules both in the Tripoli department. In fact, so DM 996, and the E modules are from the Tripoli department, but also will take modules from the computer science department. So the CS modules you see here are from the computer science department. And again, this is to show that you will be exposed to both the engineering side and the computer science. So by the end of the MSc, you will have a very good insight into machine learning from both perspectives. Okay. And I think that's me. I don't know if I've been too fast.
No, thanks very much, Gaetano. Yeah, no, perfect. So I'll just hand over back to me. I'm just going to kind of talk very briefly just around student life in the university and in Glasgow, and kind of give you some information on visas, etc. In case you're coming to study with us. So I'll just do this very quickly. So obviously, as we mentioned, is that the Strathclyde is based in Glasgow. So Glasgow is the biggest city in Scotland. It's the third largest in the UK. So roughly about 1 million population. I appreciate, having been to India many times, that's probably a smallish town in comparison to some of the cities that you have, which are wonderful. But so Glasgow is the biggest in Scotland. Very importantly as well, it's a city of music. It's also a very kind of student-focused city as well. So you've got 4 universities that are based there and a number of colleges as well. So roughly about 170,000 students will be in Glasgow at any one time. So a real student feel to the city. Also, we pride ourselves on being a very welcoming nation and a friendly nation as well, and that comes out in some of the kind of the accolades we get from different magazines, etc. You see the Rough Guides kind of award awards recently. Also, importantly as well, it's very easy to get to Glasgow, so it's got 2 international airports and multiple connections internationally. So just to emphasise again, this is just a quick map, just in terms of how central we are. So you will see on the map that that's the university campus, but also you can see we're right beside the major train stations and bus stations, etc., but also the big shopping district as well. I always like to tell students as well, just very near the campus, you could go to a very cheap supermarket to get everyday items, but you can also walk 5 minutes down the street and you'll be at Gucci and Prada, etc., and you'll buy all those luxury goods. So you've got the best of both worlds at your doorstep, just outside the campus. Obviously, Professor Campbell Booth is often at the Prada shop, so you can ask him for tips. Just very briefly, so you've got accommodation which is on campus and also off campus, so you've got the choice of where you would like to stay. Also, you can choose university accommodation or private accommodation. There's lots of different options to choose from. Importantly, in the campus as well, it's you always get your own room. You don't share a room with anyone, and some of the accommodation is en suite if you prefer that, and you would generally share the self-catering facilities as well while you're studying. Importantly as well, if you stay on campus, you get access to the new Strathclyde sports facilities, which Professor Booth showed you, absolutely free. So you get access to that, so there's no payment, whereas us poor staff members, we have to pay for our gym membership. So as a student on campus, you wouldn't need to do that. That's, again, just simply that's the new sports centre. It's one of my favourite places in the campus. I'm a big sports person, so I love going there when I can, and the work's not too bad. So just in terms of the wider things that you would receive as a student, so you've got lots of student support mechanisms on campus, as well for international students dedicated for them, but also just around study skills and counselling, etc. Also importantly for you as well is that career service. Now there has been an award-winning career service as well at the university. So before you arrive until after your studies as well, the career service is there for you should you have any important questions. And as you'll see, there's events that happen on the campus and around Glasgow as well that you get to know in terms of how you engage with prospective employers. This is just, and again, we always encourage students to get involved in the Students' Union. It's a very active student union with lots of different clubs and societies, and they very much are the voice of students on campus, and as a university, we engage very importantly with them. Now, a key thing as well is, and I'm sure you might have questions around this, is just in terms of the visa route into the UK. So as a student, you would apply for the new student visa, which would cover the period of your study. And importantly as well is that while you're studying full-time, you can also work part-time should you wish to do so on that visa. And so when you're studying during semester time, you can actually work for up to 20 hours per week. And when there's the semester downtime, so at Christmas time or at springtime, for example, then there's no restrictions on the number of hours that you can actually work. So a number of students will do this, but importantly, obviously, you need to balance out your study life as well as any kind of part-time work that you do. And importantly as well, just that second point is that this is the new post-study work visa, which has come in the UK. So as a university, we're delighted that has come in from the UK government. So from the summer of 2021, so international students who've completed their degree at undergraduate or master's level will benefit from a 2-year post-study work visa, and that's called the new graduate route. If you do a PhD, then you've got the opportunity for 3 years after you graduate. So as a student progressing into the MSc in machine learning and deep learning, should you successfully complete for that, you would then be eligible to apply for that graduate route visa, which would give you, as I said, up to 2 years kind of working rights in the UK. There we go. That's we'll try to keep it as short and sweet as possible. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time. It's been a real pleasure presenting to you, and obviously, please let us know if any questions.
Thank you very much, Stuart. Let me now share my screen, and then, the questions we can address towards the end. I will take another 10 minutes to talk about the Insofi part of the program, and then we can then answer all the questions. Right. So again, it's a pleasure to enter into this partnership with the University of Strathclyde for Insofi. We are a institution specializing in data science education and research in India. So we are present in Hyderabad, Bangalore, and Mumbai, and focus exclusively on data science research and data science education, and we do a bit of data science consulting also. We are a 70 plus faculty team, as I said, distributed between these 3 cities in India. 15 of us are full-time faculty, 10 adjunct faculty who hold industry appointments and teach or do research at Insofi, and then 15 mentors who normally are called assistant professors or readers in a traditional university setting, and then 35 data scientists. That's how we get our 70 plus faculty members. We are very applied research focus. So between the faculty, we have 75 plus patents, 300 plus research publications. And all faculty are PhDs from top international universities. And these are the people who are going to teach you our part of the program. And we organize ourselves into 10 research and consulting groups. And the research aspects of Insofi, again, are all in various aspects of data science. Some faculty members work in technology areas of data science, like robotics, blockchain, deep learning, AI adoption, etc. And some faculty work on vertical focus, AI applications in healthcare, AI applications in stock markets and capital markets, AI applications in retail, etc. So we have 10 research groups working in various areas. In fact, I was told, though I haven't validated it yet, with 40 doctoral students in data science, we are India's largest data science doctoral program. So we are one of the, we do have a very active doctoral student base also. So far, across our programs, we have graduated 6,000 students, and all in data science. And we also work actively with clients on consulting and training. And we have 150 plus happy clients across 11 different countries in multiple verticals. Petrochemical, manufacturing, energy, pharmaceutical, retail, online. These are some of the areas where our clients are focusing on. So Insofi is a highly dedicated, focused research institute with excellence in data science. Now, that's how we complement the education at MSc and machine learning and deep learning at University of Strathclyde. University of Strathclyde provides you that broad engineering perspectives in machine learning and deep learning. We prepare you to do really well in those courses in that advanced postgraduate program, which I'll talk about in the next few slides. I'll tell you what we do and why we believe it'll help you do really well. Right. What is our vision in this course? And this requires understanding Indian education also. So let me take a couple of minutes to explain it. See, machine learning and deep learning can be studied by anyone with an aptitude for math and programming. So until probably 5-10 years back, machine learning and deep learning was seen as a specialization of computer science. That's not the case anymore. Now, engineering schools are actively getting involved in machine learning and deep learning. Business schools are teaching not the algorithmic part, but the data science analytics part of it. I know a couple of pharmacy departments that are doing machine learning and deep learning. So there is one civil engineering department in Germany that we work with, where they said they have decided not to do traditional civil engineering anymore. They wanted to do entire civil engineering through machine learning lens. So the idea here is, whatever is your background, engineering, science, computer science, whatever it is, you are eligible for machine learning and deep learning. However, the postgraduate education in international universities is very advanced and rigorous. And as someone who studied at an internet and a top top-notch international university, I can vouch for that. I work with Indian schools and I work with international schools. The fundamental vision of postgraduate education is very different in both. In India, almost 99% of people who go to masters education, particularly in engineering, go with an intention to do a PhD or get into teaching. Essentially, masters is seen as a prerequisite for teaching profession. Now that is completely different. And after my master's and PhD, when I came back to India, they said, as far as industry job is concerned, we don't differentiate between bachelors and masters. I was shocked, honestly. And the person who said that is the organization that said is not a private company. It is Indian Defense Research Development Organization. Right? So in India, masters is seen, particularly in engineering, as a step towards getting into academia. But in abroad, that's not the case. Postgraduate education is seen as a way to create engineers who can solve more complex problems, who are more relevant to the industry, who are given training in more advanced applied technologies that can then take that to the industry readily. And postgraduates are preferred over graduates for certain jobs, more complex jobs, well-paying jobs. So the graduate education, the postgraduate education in international institutes require a rigor and the skill level that is probably not expected in more than 90% of Indian schools. There are some schools in India where it is as rigorous. Obviously, IISc Bangalore has a fantastic postgraduate program, but I'm talking about general situation. So this postgraduate education needs, in addition to the aptitude for math and programming, certain level of skills. And our program is designed, the Insofi's part of the MSc program is designed to provide those skills. So roughly, what do we teach? Okay, when you get into this MSc in machine learning and deep learning through Insofi, we provide you foundational education in the following areas. Number one, mathematics. Yes, many of you must have had first and second year courses in calculus, linear algebra, numerical methods, etc. But you know what? The idea here is when you are looking at, sorry for getting a bit technical here, but when you are looking at computing the eigenvalues of a matrix, you really have to know why you are doing it and why are you doing what you are doing, right? So that understanding is very important because you go and start applying them in machine learning to actually find better attributes for your data, right? So we actually teach the same calculus, linear algebra, numerical methods from a highly applied perspective. Similarly, what we noticed in programming particularly is that the engineering software applied engineering way of creating programs, building a product, many graduates of science, engineering, and mathematics in India don't have it. The program development, the way of techniques of writing the program are not really matured enough for people to build a product of utility. So we train people in software programming with Python and MATLAB as the main sources. And of course, AI machine learning is all about statistical techniques and statistical methods. So we provide a very thorough training in fundamentals of statistics and fundamentals of probability principles and building models using statistics and probability. And one more thing, we do want some of you to seriously consider getting into a PhD program. So, and even for postgraduate program for that matter, understanding how research is done, how you should systematically, ethically, and in a disciplined way do research is very important. So as we spend a lot of time in research, we culled out a course to teach you research methods. So roughly, this is 200 to 220 hours. And for those, optionally, all of you I know have gone through an English medium education in your undergraduate, graduate education school. But those of you who want a bit more training in English communication and written, we have an optional module for you to take also. So our pre-masters program. So before you go to Strathclyde, we cover all these subjects in a very applied and foundational way, with the goal that when you go there, you are ready to take the advanced postgraduate courses and apply them and perform better than probably students globally and compete and stand out with your performance. And obviously, there is a fantastic opportunities post that. Someone I saw one question in the chat room about, what kind of career guarantees do you give? No institute gives 100% guarantees. I think Stuart said 90% of their graduates, postgraduate students in engineering get jobs in electrical engineering. What you have to know if you are getting into this program. Last year, LinkedIn had done a very comprehensive analysis of opportunities, career opportunities, and across multiple countries, and found that AI engineering is the most preferred job globally. Full stop. According to LinkedIn, the most in-demand job globally is AI, machine learning, deep learning engineering. So you are getting into the most in-demand job. So the question is, if you do well in this, the sky is the limit in terms of opportunities. What we try to do is to prepare you to do well. And what Strathclyde then does is to expose you to the advanced applications of this technology, so that you can become one of the thought leaders and experts in this field to establish your career. Now, who is it suited for? Well, as I mentioned, 3-year or 4-year degree holders in science and engineering, and final year, those who are in the final year probably can also apply. But most importantly, you should love coding and mathematics. And I think so mad at this word, I didn't do that, or Parag, I don't know, adventure. Well, adventure, not as in you don't have to do bungee jumping. I never did that, though I do a lot of mathematics and deep learning. What you mean by adventure is trying out new things. Okay, completely new things. I mean, taking up a problem that is probably thought about, nobody had thought about applying machine learning, deep learning, and you apply that, see the results, etc. So if you have that passion, and if you have a 3-year, 4-year degree in any branch of engineering, you can actually you can do this program. When I say this program, the MSc in machine learning and deep learning, we prepare you for that. We do get a question. I have a BTech in computer science. Do I need to do Insofi as part of the program before we go to Strathclyde? Let me be very clear. You don't even need a degree in computer science. You don't have to do Insofi's course. With a degree in civil engineering, if you feel confident that you can handle the postgraduate education in MSc in machine learning, deep learning, you are free to directly apply there. So you don't need to do Insofi as part of the curriculum. What we believe is that for many students who probably didn't have applied education in the fields that I mentioned, and believe that an education there will help you do well in your postgraduate education once you go to Glasgow, you actually can benefit from this program. And the way we designed this is that all this extra education that you get, you don't have to spend any extra money. It's whether you go directly without this education or with this entire training program at Insofi and get ready for your graduate studies and you go there, you pay, your expense is exactly the same as, I know there's no difference. So that is the advantage with no extra. If you believe we believe, of course, and if you also believe grounding in these subjects will help you do well in your curriculum, you're most welcome to consider this course. And people are also asking about the scholarships, and those questions about at Insofi, what kind of scholarships you get, our advisors will address separately. Anything that is available on our webpage, we will call you and talk to you, or you can refer to our webpage. Now, in addition to the education, what else we provide to all the Insofi students? Insofi has partnered with around 12 banks, Indian banks for loans, have partnered with visa processing and visa advisory services, and we have partnered with global outside campus housing services in UK and Europe. So all our students by definition get all these support through the recognized partners in this area. And then, of course, Insofi's graduates are interviewed and recruited by 500 enterprises in data science across the globe. This is in addition to what Strathclyde graduates get, the companies that they have shown. We have around 500 companies that recruit from us purely for data science. And all our students get our career assistance services globally for those, whether you study in India or whether you study in Europe or France or wherever through our partner universities, they're eligible for that. So we believe this is one of the fantastic ways to launch your career globally as a machine learning and a deep learning expert. And both institutes are committed to the success of the top success of the students. And in terms of alumni, you have seen the inventor of television is a student of Strathclyde. The founder of Flipkart is a student of Insofi. So these institutes have the pride in actually saying that people who founded billion-dollar companies actually studied from us and learned data science and machine learning from us. So that is the kind of pride that we take in our alumni, and that is the kind of guidance that we provide to our students. And based on that, we believe we have a fantastic curriculum both in India, and then when you go to Strathclyde, the 2 years of education there to put you in a very firm, successful track in your career post that. With that, I will end my part of the session. And now I will leave to Som and others to sort of ask, questions that were posted in the chat room. I request again, given there are so many attendees, it will be impossible to give a audio access to all the students. Any question that you have, please feel free to type it in the chat room or the Q&A. We will address all the pertinent questions. So, over to you.
Yeah. So, Dr. Murthy, I've seen a few questions repetitive that talks about what is the difference if I go through Insofi versus if I go and apply directly. I believe you've already mentioned that.
I think I already mentioned anything that is directly told in the talk. If they have a question, you can approach them again, but I addressed that question. Yeah.
And some students obviously were asking about the PhD opportunities that they can apply for after this program when they complete, and the relevant research opportunities.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, maybe I can talk about that. I mean, as you may be aware, we already have many international articulation and collaboration agreements. COVID-19 has clearly had an impact this year, but in the past, EEE was host to almost 80, 90 students from China every year in our undergraduate program, and many of them proceeded to masters and PhDs. I don't have the numbers, but I think a few years ago we had more than 100 students who had graduated with a PhD, having originally come through our articulation agreements with our Chinese partners, many of which have been in existence now for 10 or 15 years or more. So the answer to the question is there are lots of opportunities. We have a number of centres for doctoral training which can be open to international students. And, we have about 200 PhD students within the department at the moment. And again, many of them have come through the international route, some with scholarships, some without, as I'm sure my colleagues in Insofi are aware, the funding for PhDs is very much diverse range of potential sources. But what I would say is for the best students, there's always opportunities.
All right. And there were questions pertaining to if they can pursue any part-time jobs during their course.
I think Stuart answered that question. That, yes.
And most of the relevant other questions are aligned to the program specific information, which I believe the team will reach out to them personally and will address them.
I think Sujit asked an interesting question. So, given the current COVID situation, can you talk about the security measures that you are taking in case there is a on-campus program? Just to so that Sujit, I want you to know first thing, you will be going on campus in September next year. Hopefully, COVID will be under control by then. But then I leave it to Stuart and the Strathclyde team.
Maybe I can answer that at the high level. At the moment, we do have students on campus at the moment for those degrees where maybe for accreditation purposes there has to be some practical element. But as you would expect, we're operating mostly in the online and blended mode. The short answer to the question is we're doing everything we can. We have all the physical distancing, we have screens, we have sanitizing stations, we have, everyone has their, let me see if I have one here. We have the University of Strathclyde face covering. So we're doing everything that we can. The UK government and the Scottish government are also really ramping up the mass testing programme for our students so that there may be a kind of live real-time testing programme in place. But as Murthy has said, I am extremely hopeful, especially given some of the recent announcements about vaccines, that by next September we are back to some semblance of normality. But at the moment, we're doing all that we can. Strathclyde actually does have a very low instance of outbreaks of cases, but I don't think it's really one to compare one university with another. But we are doing well, and the campus has been quite transformed. I don't know if you've got anything to add, Stuart, but I think that's all I maybe need to say.
Yeah, no, I think you've covered all the key points, Campbell.
Great. So, are there any other questions?
Yeah, I think there are a couple with language proficiency.
I see some questions, Soma. I see some questions about credit transfer and things like that. I think these are all questions that we would have to look at almost on an individual application basis.
Yeah.
The answer is yes. There is always a chance to look at prior learning, but it's too difficult to give a general answer, I think.
Yeah,
exactly.
We will address them on one-on-one separately. And what were you saying, Som? There were questions
about the language proficiency, it is the English IELTS and TOEFL, which I believe with their undergraduate degrees in English. We can
if they have undergraduate degrees, we discussed. If we will get a certificate from your institute, you have to get that your entire undergraduate degree is in English. In fact, in India, I don't know whether any science and engineering degree can be studied in any other medium other than English. So that certification will be if it is provided, and if Strathclyde faculty finds that suitable, I think they will be waiving the IELTS and TOEFL requirement. We will work again. That we will have to look at case by case basis. We will talk to you when it comes to that.
Sure. And I just want to make one small announcement now that we are towards the conclusion of the session, that there's a small survey that will be popped up at the end of the session. So just say you are interested to know about the program. At Insofi, we have an advisory team that reaches out to every individual inquiry, understands their academic background, their experience, their transcripts to look at what are the benefits of streams, which universities are applicable. And we look at different aspects and evaluate their background. So our solutions or our advisory will be a lot more personalized. So a lot of questions pertain to individual credit transfers, as Professor Campbell was mentioning, or even about the prerequisites or program aspects. We will cover them a lot more in detail and a lot more personalized one-on-one, so that those questions can be given a lot of time and effort from our teams.
Great. You can actually do the poll, and I think we are good. Time to thank the Strathclyde team. Mazhar and Stuart, Campbell, and Katarina. So thank you very much for your time and effort. It's our pleasure. So
yes, I've just launched the poll. All the participants who are keen, they can just say yes, and we will start to reach out to you all. And once again, my sincere thanks from Insofi as an entire organization to the Strathclyde team, all the professors, and Mazhar also for helping us towards this process. Thank you so much. And this was really helpful and great from the audience standpoint. A lot of points were covered. And we will have this recorded session uploaded in YouTube and other sources. So people who've missed today, they would certainly be able to catch up and learn more. So thank you again. Thank you once again.
Great. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. This is wonderful. Thank you very much, all of you.